Hi everyone. Today we have Randall Kanna from California. She's a software engineer, author, speaker. So and in this video, we will know about her story, and we talk a lot about books, the current, the future. So how are you, Randall?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming here. It's 7 p.m. here. We have a kind of different time zone, I think.
Yes, 10
Yeah.
a.m. here.
Yeah, I know that. And yeah, now that I'm doing this kind of video calls, now I know every time zone of the world. If you say that one place, I almost understand the time zone and the time of the call. So
That's a handy
welcome.
trick.
Yeah, welcome. So we could start if you want to a little bit more about you. You can talk about, for example, if you are developing now, your story as a developer. Yeah, you can start from whatever point you want and let us know. You can talk about languages, frameworks. Here we are all developers, so yeah.
Yeah. So about 5 years ago, I kind of didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. I kind of didn't like my job. I just graduated college and I wasn't really fulfilled in what I was doing at all. And I kind of had always liked code, but I had only done, basic HTML, like jQuery, CSS, really basic stuff way back when. And then someone had told me about coding boot camps. And I applied for one kind of randomly, and I spent about 8 or 9 months preparing, which was probably overkill and oversight in kind of retrospect there, because I basically had built an app before I even went to my boot camp. And got into the boot camp, attended about 6 years ago now. So I've been an engineer for the past 5 years, and then got my kind of engineering job, and the rest kind of is history. And I've been in the Bay Area for the last 5 years, working in various companies. I've worked for Eventbrite, Pandora, Ticketfly. I'm working for a small fintech startup right now, remotely, which is really nice. And then I'm also working at Gumroad part-time.
Yeah, and I also see that we have one thing in common, because I also started to being serious about coding 5 years ago. So we have already one thing in common. So 2015, it was our year, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I love that.
So currently you're doing this, and I'd like to talk a lot about your books. So I start right now, if you want. And also I'd like to also know, for example, why have you had this idea to write this book? I know something, but let's do this for everyone, because
Yeah.
So
I kind of wanted to write the book that I wish I had when I started out, because I kind of was very lost, and I was job hunting and I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know if I should be using, LinkedIn or just Indeed or, Monster or whatever for jobs. And I didn't even know about AngelList or kind of, Stack Overflow or any kind of thing like that. And I didn't really know how to promote myself and how to kind of put my best foot forward. So I kind of had to figure it all out there. And I didn't really know how to make a name for myself in engineering as well. So I kind of wanted to, my first book was basically all about how you can job hunt, how you can kind of stand out as an engineer, where you should be job hunting, how you can write a great resume, how you can work on your LinkedIn, networking, finding a mentor, improving your interview skills, kind of everything I really wish that I knew 5 years ago when I had to start applying for jobs and I had no idea about tech or anything like that. And the second book now, it's a little bit more for the job that I wish I had when I started my job. And when I started out as a junior engineer, and I've been working on it, I think since January, both books. And I kind of put the second one on hold a little bit, because I thought in this, everything that's going on with COVID, that it was more important to help people find jobs. So I'm so proud that my book has helped so many people find jobs, whether it's been at Google or Facebook, and just the experience has been so amazing and fulfilling to have people message me, every week and say, hey, I just got an interview at Google because you helped me with my resume. So that has been just so much more, I guess, impactful and powerful for my life than anything I've done before.
Yeah, and I also can add that I've bought this book, even if I already have a job. It has been useful also for me. There's some
Thank
LinkedIn
you.
tips that I've used. thank you for them. Yeah, we are not saying this today, so you, you need to check the book for them. And we put the link, of course. Yeah. So yeah, but so what we're saying, yeah, I think it's perfect. That we need to write and do something for ourselves. So you basically you wrote your book for yourself. Maybe in the future you can read. Oh,
Yes.
this book is so nice. Oh, who is the author? Oh, it's me. Yeah. So yeah. So because and also yeah, you said how much time did you take to write the first book? We are talking about the standout developer, right?
Yes, it
This
took
is the
about
first one.
6 months to write.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of time spent, and the editing process was like a month just in itself. So it was a very involved process. It definitely was not easy. And then kind of at the same time, I was always kind of keeping notes on what I would want to write for the second book. And I had about 40 pages written in, I think, April or March for the second book. And then I kind of put it on hold to pursue the Standout Developer because I thought it was a little more important in the time.
Yeah. For example, I can say that I started using some of the tips in the books, like write a little bit every day, because, for example, it's something that is I was not used to do. I wrote some articles. Now I'm writing something. I'm not gonna say anything because when I say that I'm doing something, the chances to that this will be done they drops vertically. So I don't do that. But I'm using exactly this tip to write down maybe yeah 10 rows. Yeah, dedicate some 20 minutes. Yeah, it really makes the difference.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're doing your video every day, so you're
Yeah,
extra productive.
also this, yes, I started like for almost for fun to talk with my friends. Yeah, and also and now I am so happy because I'm also talking to you now. Yeah, we made it because I sent you some messages and finally we made it. Yeah, so I'm doing this because and of course, and also doing this also for myself because, for example, I needed to talk with my friends, also make some practice for English. So I'm using this video calls also for me. So this is also why I'm so involved into making this. And I think also in your case, if you're writing a book that you you would like to read, yeah, you put so much effort in that because yeah,
Yeah,
because
I completely agree. It's so much effort. I love that you're doing it every day as well, because I feel like, small things add up over time. Like writing the book. I hate writing. I did not want to write a book. And it was kind of my first book was with O'Reilly, and it was a very painful process for me because I hate writing. But just doing it every day kind of built up the habit for me. And then I started loving it. And now, it's like 3 books since 2019.
I think it's all about habits. If you want to do something, maybe you hate the process. It's a little bit like coding. Maybe coding can be really funny, but yeah. So okay. So
And really stressful sometimes.
yeah, sometimes yeah. So but I really love to code, but for example, we are talking about the general idea. So maybe we say that maybe we like to write something, but maybe doing this every day is a little bit different. And so but I remember something of your book. Also you said about this habit to also to the people who are reading the book to actually write a book. So can we say something else about that? Maybe so some people that are watching this, how this can impact their lives. So I think also as maybe
Yeah, it's actually
did
how
for
I
you.
learned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how I learned how to code, actually. Before my boot camp, I spent 8 or 9 months studying on my own and, taking tutorials and just sitting down every day and working on the habit. And it was so powerful because, when I started, I could not even get through a simple free code camp exercise. Like, it was painful for me. I would cheat. I'd have to look at the answers. And that was how, junior I was when I started out. And coding was very difficult. I obviously, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. It's very challenging to start out when you don't have a mentor or someone, to teach you one-on-one. And there's so many resources out there. And, you have no idea where to start. For me, I would start with one tutorial, and then I would get bored, or I wouldn't be able to do it, or it would get too hard, or I'd run into a bug that I couldn't fix and there wasn't any help in the comments. And I would just move to the next tutorial. And that kind of, repeated over a while until I finally realized I needed to just work on projects. But kind of what really worked is that I just sat down every single day and I actually printed out this whole, it was just this chart of every single day where I would write like a little check mark if I had coded that day, even if it was just a half hour, 45 minutes, but kind of building that habit every day. And, after you have 5 or 6 check marks in a row, you don't want to break that habit. And it's something I think Jerry Seinfeld originally talked about, that he wrote a joke every single day and he would write down a little X on his calendar for every day that, he wrote a new joke. So for me, just every day when I sat down and I taught myself how to code, I would put, a little red check on that chart. And I actually had those pieces of paper for years and just stared at them. And I kept track of how many hours I had coded because I wanted to get to the 10,000 hours, which is really silly now when I think about it. But I can't recommend enough just sitting down every single day and working a little bit, because, day by day, it's a struggle. You feel like, I remember feeling very lost and not sure what to do next and if I was making any progress. But, at the end of the 6 months and then 9 months and then 12 months, all that little habits, they really added up. And I got an engineering job about a year after I started teaching myself how to code.
Thank you. For example, this is something that I also did when I started making these kind of videos. I put some check marks every day. It wasn't even really planned to do that, but after a while, after a couple of weeks, I decided, maybe I can do this for 100 days. Let's try, let's fail and let them all Twitter laugh about me. Let's see. And I also think that by making challenges, and because also it's a challenge, because to do that every day, it's challenging, because it's not easy. Because sometimes you say, I'll do this tomorrow, or maybe the day, or maybe tomorrow I'll do the twice the amount of hours, but it's not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah. It's kind of like, I read this book a few years ago, The Motivation Myth, and it just completely changed my life, because I realized even when I was teaching myself how to code that you can't wait for, the feeling of motivation when you're teaching yourself how to code, because, that's rarely going to strike. And it's very challenging to teach yourself how to code, especially on your own. And thankfully I went to a boot camp about 8 or 9 months into my coding journey, and that really helped me a lot stay on track. But it's this kind of idea that you can't wait for motivation to strike, and you need to just go out there, make an effort every single day, and then that will lead you, to feeling success, which leads to the feeling of awesome motivation. So you definitely have to read it if you haven't already.
Yeah, and of course we are talking about good habits. So we should break the bad habits. And also focus on good habits. For example, I have this habit to work like an hour and a half in the morning at 6 a.m. Sometimes I take some pictures of the sunrise, and I also sometimes I have these crazy ideas. Like for example, this kind of videos. It was an idea of me like working in the morning. Yeah, so for example, that is a good habit that I have, because otherwise I'll sit all day. So so for example, that's also a very good habit.
I love what you're doing with the videos. It's such a great idea, and keeping on track every day is so powerful. Who knows what's going to happen at the end of the 100 days? Yeah,
I'm not even at half of them now at the time of recording. Yeah, and it's already changing. Also, the perception of people about me, and also my perception about me making videos, because I never published a video before the 7th of August.
Wow.
And now today I've published 66 videos, something like that.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so jealous. I think I've done 3 videos.
They're also quite long. And also I never could do this alone. There are some amazing developers like you that are helping me. I do some kind of stuff, editing, okay, but I also thank you for being here, because you are helping me. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I kind of feel the same way. I started a podcast this year with Swix, and I could not do a podcast alone. And I wanted to do a podcast for so long. So kind of the same thing that you're doing with video. We worked with each other as partners. It's so much better than doing it alone.
and now I am full of people that they say, I've been to your podcast, now you need to come to mine. But I'll do that, okay? Because now I have so many people say, I come to your
Yeah, we'll have you
podcast.
on our show
Yeah,
when you're done with
yeah.
100 days. No pressure.
Yeah, that's basically my answer. So I'll give this back, don't worry. But allow me to
After the
focus.
100 days. Yes.
So thank you. Can I say one thing a little bit off topic? I love the colors of your book in the behind because I've noticed that while you were talking. So you have
So
chosen
they're
the
not color
colors.
coded in my defense. They
Yeah.
are they're section and color coded. This is like my startup self-improvement business section, and then everything below is history and coding. Everything below is not color coded. So this is the only section I can color code because it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but congratulations on that. Yeah, it's really amazing.
Thank you. I love books. I actually need to get a second shelf because if I showed you the rest of my office in here, there's just books everywhere. I have books in my closet. I have books in my second closet. I have books on the floor. It's really bad. This is the only organized section.
So maybe you have built the habit to write, but you already had the habit to read, I think.
Yeah. Yes, I love reading. I've read some amazing books this year. I love that I have more time during COVID to read.
Yes.
Can't go anywhere, can't do anything, so might as well read.
Sometimes it's hard because, for example, even me, when I started like making videos, it's hard to also watch videos, look at other contents. We should have like 2 or 3 lives: one to create content, one to watch content, and one for basically everything else.
That's so true. I've noticed kind of my reading and watching has dropped off as I've created more content because I just don't have the time anymore. I'm trying to create so much and then no time.
Yeah, sometimes I feel a little bit guilty because I have so many friends now. Now I found a solution on that. I dedicate the watching content on Sunday. So on Sunday, I dedicate the Sundays to watch more content of my friends on YouTube, and also read some books.
That's smart. I need to do that.
Because on Sunday, I just want to maybe to relax a little bit. So I found this solution. It's working. I'm using this, for example, for 2 or 3 weeks. It's working. I also leave something on Twitter, like these are the videos that I watched today, like 15, 20 videos, and they are happy. I'm happy.
I love that. Very learn in public.
Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about your future book? I don't know if this will be the future or this book will be released today. I'll try to let this video out the day of the release, but I can't assure that. But let's pretend that we are releasing this video today, so you can make the promo of your video, and I'll publish this at the right time.
That sounds great. So the book will be out on December 16th, which could be today. And it's kind of basically the book that I wanted to write for me when I got my first step job, because I felt very lost and kind of how to improve my skills. And I went to work every day and it was very demoralizing for me. I had a lot of imposter syndrome and I felt very stressed out all the time. And I felt like I was going to get fired all the time. For context, when I started my first job, it was an apprenticeship that was going to last 3 months. And if I did well, they were going to keep me. And if I didn't do well, they were going to fire me and I was going to be out the door, program over. And so at the end of the first 2 months, they called me in and they said, the program's over and we're ending it early. And I was like, oh my God, I'm getting fired. And they're ending it early and I'm going to, they're going to kick me out. And it was actually, they ended the program early to hire me full time. And I was blown away. I was so excited because I definitely thought I was going to get fired the whole time. And kind of after that, I still had all this, imposter syndrome, because a lot of people that graduated from my boot camp, they didn't have to, do a 2-month apprenticeship first. They got, really high paid dev jobs. They took a little bit longer to get them, but once they did, they were working in a little more prestigious positions than me. And I was the first one out of my boot camp to get a job. And I just realized I had so much imposter syndrome and I didn't know how to grow my skills and I felt really scared. So I wanted to write that kind of book for me. And I wanted to write the book on how to improve my skills and how to, debug quickly and when you need to ask someone for help, and kind of all these different tips of what I wish that I knew when I started out. And about a year and a half after I started my first dev job, ended the 2-month apprenticeship. I think it was about a year and 6 months later, I became a senior engineer. And that's, slightly unheard of in the industry. And a lot of people freak out when they hear that. But it was because I had no social life in that year and a half at all. I only went out with the company. I didn't see other friends really. I didn't go to really parties. I didn't date. I didn't read. All I did was code, work on weekends, and kind of build relationships with my coworkers. And everything I learned in that year and a half to try to accelerate my skills, I'm sharing in my book to help and try to help other people's careers and improve kind of that feeling of, you're worried about you're going to lose your job. So I want to kind of help remove that feeling for other people.
Yeah, I think that this has been tough for you. But also, I think that by sharing this, we can help now other people, because I also had these kind of similar things. Because I started working like 3 years ago. For example, I started using socials just this year.
Me too.
In 2020, in January.
Me too.
Yeah. So basically, we have. Yeah, if I had a dog like you, yours, you would be similar. So I also studied a lot. Without socials, I think that I can understand you. Maybe not completely, but a little bit. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, and I think this is really a problem, this imposter syndrome. We need to fight that. I think that also by showing this, what happened also to us, to me, to you, can really help someone else, because sometimes we just need maybe some words, some comfort.
I totally agree. I think when I started, 5 years ago, my first job, nobody was really talking about imposter syndrome back then. And it was kind of very, you just had to figure it out, and you had to pretend you knew what you were doing. And it was very stressful. And I wish I kind of had someone, tell me, oh, it's fine. Everyone deals with this. But I wasn't on Twitter back then, and tech Twitter wasn't really a big thing. It was very, quiet. Not like it is now. People are so much more supportive.
Yeah. I don't know which role the pandemic and the lockdown played in this.
Everyone's on Twitter all day now, basically.
I had like 3 hours of commitment every day, and basically I transferred this time to Twitter. So yes.
Me too. It's bad. I'm actually slightly ashamed how much I'm on Twitter now, but what else are we going to do?
I think that this imposter syndrome it can be because the tech world it's so big. There are so many technologies. There are too many technologies. There are really a lot, and you can't master them all. I've tried, I failed, but it's really hard to master them all. Now I'm, for example, focused on DevOps, and it's already a kind of big word.
Something I actually tried to do. I've literally worked as a blockchain developer, an iOS developer, a front-end developer, a back-end developer, and a full-stack developer. Yeah. I've tried to do it all, and it does not work. It's exhausting.
It's hard. The real problem is that these technologies, they are not static. They move. If you don't use a framework for 1 year or 6 months, they have already updated. So that's the real problem also. That you can choose a technology and then focus on that. For example, I stay on the Docker official documentation every day, but I could never do that with every JavaScript framework, of course not. But so I think that is the real problem, to stay updated on a technology. So
that's something I talk about in the book, that you just need to be, you need to always be learning if you want to keep your skills fresh and keep your job, because that's something I learned in my first job, that you can't be static, and you can't just kind of go to work every day and hope your skills improve. You kind of have to take an active role in improving your skills if you want to become an elite developer and stay employed.
It's not a job that you just go to work, you sit, you work, and you you wake, you stand up,
Yeah, there's
and
always something new to learn, always something
every
to
day,
figure out every day.
and of course, because I like to run, I do these analogies with, like, you need to keep running every day, stay updated every day. It's part of the game of a developer, in my
That's
opinion.
something I also talk about in the book, is finding time at work to do that, because a lot of people, have kids or lives, or, they try to keep a bunch of side hustles going, like me and you do. And we don't have the time, at night or on weekends anymore. I did when I was, younger and started out. I had no social life, but now, I want to have a social life, obviously not during COVID. But I think that's something really important, is that you can improve your skills at your job. And a lot of people think, oh, to be that amazing developer, I have to work nights and weekends, but I don't do that anymore. I do my side hustle stuff on nights and weekends, but I don't, learn skills outside of my job. I learn everything at my job now. So it's something I talk about in the book, is to find ways for your company to help support you at work, so you can go home at 6 o'clock and not have to do that anymore.
Yeah, because I think, we can make a little bit pressure of ourselves, maybe for 1 month, I don't know, 2 months, but we can't do this for 20 years.
Yes.
It's impossible. Yeah, it will be a shame, really, to give up on development just because you had too many pressure for maybe some 2 years. Because I asked, for example, some friends that they say, oh no, I don't want to code anymore. I'm upset with all of that. It's a shame, because after that, I learned so much. And maybe you just needed to do that, maybe a little bit more relaxed.
I absolutely agree. I had 3 months last year where I could not work because I was so burned out, and I went through my savings, and I could not afford to take a 3-month break, but I did, because I could not code anymore. I needed a serious break. So something that I talk about a lot publicly is avoiding burnout, and not working after 6 p.m. and turning off your computer. I don't work late anymore. Maybe on very rare occasions, but how they say it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And also, I love this because I like running. I'll try to prepare a marathon maybe in some years. I don't know where. So this will be the perfect analogy for me. What to say, I totally agree with this, that we need sometimes we need to slow down a little bit. Sometimes I've learned this by the years. Now I am 37, that now I can maybe, I know a little bit more by myself. So when I feel too much overwhelmed, I say, okay, I take a step back, I plan a little bit, I relax, I breathe, and then I start over again. Because maybe some years ago, sometimes I don't know if you ever had this feeling that you have too many things to do, and something that you haven't planned happened.
Yes, I can really relate to that right now. I'm trying to keep way too many things going, but just when I started out my first dev job, that was totally doable. I could work nights, weekends, and I was like, oh, this is fine. But eventually you get burned out and you just don't want to code anymore, which is really bad.
And another thing that I usually say, that I think that the parents developers who are also parents, I think that they are the heroes of this tech community. I don't know how they do that, but
I think that almost every day. I don't know how they do it. It's so impressive. They're superheroes.
They are heroes or superheroes for me. I had here a Docker captain, a Docker expert who had like five children, like 8, 6, 4, 2, and 0, and he also found half an hour to speak with me.
I'm blown away when people do. I have a dog. I have one dog, and I'm like, wow, this is so much effort. I'm like, how do people do it? Because I'm out with her at least 2 hours a day. She's a big dog, needs a lot of it. And I'm just like, how do parents do it? They're just like, they are so above me as a person. I just cannot even. I can't even understand them because they're so amazing.
They say that you need to do that to really understand that. I'll not speak anymore about this topic because So about this future book, that this will be released today. Let's try this. What else can we find in this book? Something else?
This book is going to be a little bit shorter than my last book. It's going to be about, I think, 70 pages. And a lot of it's going to be about improving your skills and debugging, but I'm also going to have a lot about working with a mentor and pairing effectively at work and advocating for yourself for a promotion. And then a lot of my strategies of how I got a promotion in a year and a half after starting, my first dev job, and anything from writing down every single thing important that you did that day at your job, because 6 months, a year goes by and you have your first performance review, and we just need to start preparing for your first performance review. And you want to ask for a raise or a promotion, and you need to have a document. You need to have a living document that says, this is what I've done in the last year, and kind of prove your worth. And it's something I've done throughout my career, because it helps with promotions, it helps with advocating for yourself for a raise, and it also helps you find your next job because it helps you remember what you did. So a lot of things, kind of my strategies for that, and then also for our note-taking, kind of everything to prepare you to improve at your job and to improve your skills, and kind of also put down the tutorials. So there's some things, mostly this book is for people who are starting, their dev job or maybe their second dev job, but it also can be used for people that haven't had a dev job yet, that want to go in and be very prepared day one.
And I think that there's nothing wrong in asking for a raise if you have, as you say, the documentation. So we will know about that in the book.
That's something I really wish that someone had told me, because when I had my first dev job and about a year and a half in, I had missed out on about $40,000 of income over the last 6 months because I did not ask for a raise and I wasn't being paid fairly. And I had kind of been switched around with managers for a while. And I had a manager, and he came in and he said, you're being underpaid $40,000. And he's like, I'm going to try to get you, retroactive pay. And he tried really hard, and he was a great manager, but he couldn't do it. So I ended up missing out on over $40,000 in a span of, I think, 6 or 7 months. So something really near and dear to my heart, that we kind of advocate for ourselves and we don't miss out on that kind of income that you deserve.
Yeah, and I think, because I had many developers, also some freelancer, we talked about how to sell yourself. I think that this is a bit a problem for developers. I don't know if maybe it's because we have this so open-minded ideas, but being open-minded for open source and to work underpaid, I think that they are two different concepts. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I hate selling myself. I wasn't even on Twitter actively until this year, I think in March, because I hated self-promotion. I hated putting myself out there, and I hated promoting anything. I hated it, but I didn't do it until this year. And now it's been so worthwhile for me, because I'm on videos like this, and I'm on podcasts, and I'm working with Gumroad, creating workshops, and all this like amazing stuff that wouldn't have happened. I just spoke at, Women Who Code, which was like a lifelong, dream to ever imagine speaking at all these amazing places. And, I've had an O'Reilly book, just amazing things that happened because I did promote myself, as much as I hate to say, promote yourself, but it totally paid off.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this is a skill that that can be learned. Yeah, we don't born with this sell yourself skill.
I hate doing it. If I can do it, anyone can do it, because I had no idea how to do it. I was posting, we follow each other on Instagram. I'm posting a lot of dog photos. That's all I did on Twitter. Before I just posted dog photos.
Now you post them just on Instagram, of course. But
I spare my Twitter followers that now. I've learned some lessons about what people want to see online.
I think this is also, of course, it's a skill that you can improve. Also, communication. For example, now people say, you communicate so you are so natural now,
do.
but. Thank you for that. But for example, I think that I need to work a lot still on communication to sell myself. It's basically a skill that I'm learning, because I stayed like coding for years. And you said something funny, like the real engineer the engineers, they are not on Twitter. Yeah, right.
Yes, I thought that for years. Yeah, I wanted to be like one of those engineers that I saw that, they weren't on Twitter and they were very quiet and humble. And I did that for like 5 years, and I became, a great engineer, and I worked in a lot of different areas. I've worked in blockchain, I've worked in iOS. I've built some really amazing, apps that are still used at big companies, and that's so cool. But, push comes to shove, 5 years later, I can, get a job I want, pass the interview. But now that I have a presence online, I get so many more opportunities and so many more amazing things come my way because of that. So it's kind of like, why wouldn't you do it in your spare time if you have the time, hopefully?
Yeah. And also, what is what I'm working on, basically, also by doing these kind of interviews, by improving my presence on Twitter just a little bit. So I think this is an important part that if you feel that you want to do that, it can really be useful for many opportunities.
Definitely.
Also job opportunities. I interviewed so many people here. They found their jobs on Twitter. It's not a joke. It's real. Yeah, it's real.
Yeah, it's definitely real. I know a ton of people who have found jobs on Twitter. Just having an elevated, a boosted social media presence can be so helpful. And also, just for not even for jobs, for speaking at like a conference. I've had a ton of conference opportunities come up because I have a large Twitter profile, and that in turn will help you find jobs. I've actually it's funny, I got my last blockchain job because I spoke, at a conference, and I had a big presence, and then I had a book deal come through. So it really does help your career.
Yeah. I spoke at a web conference this year, for example, and it was like 2 weeks before starting making these interviews. So this helped me a lot, this experience, even if it was online. But it helped me really a lot. Yeah. So because basically I never spoke English like this. Like I watched so many tutorials, I read so many books in English, but speaking like this, I can talk it to you now, something that I never did like one month ago, never.
So that's kind of the same with coding. I feel like you have to just put down the tutorial as soon as you feel kind of, a little comfortable, and just start doing it. And then your skills, that's one thing that I talk about in the book. The latest book is that, when you're a kid and you're a baby or you're a toddler, and, you're learning a new skill, or you're learning how to speak, or you're learning how to walk, or, ride a bike, you don't learn it from a textbook, and you don't learn it from a book. You learn it by, applying yourself, and actually you learn by doing. And that's something that kind of slowed down my learning significantly, because I tried to learn to code by reading books all the time. And I made like flashcards. I had flashcard stacks like this big, like just piles of flashcards. And I did not learn how to code any faster doing that. And it wasn't until I just kind of, sat down and started doing it. So I'm a huge advocate for learning by doing.
Yeah. For example, one thing that helped me really a lot, it was that I accepted I'll do some interviews. I already know that the first ones, they'll be bad. I already know that.
No.
But I'm sure that, but now I laugh about them. I call them my old interviews, even if they are like 3 weeks ago. But so basically I accepted this. I said, okay, I'll make these bad interviews. I don't know even what I'm gonna do. For example, in the first interviews, I would say like, okay, goodbye, and I just closed the video calls because I was nervous about that. But basically I accepted that, and now I think that I'm getting just a little bit better. Now I think I'm a little bit more relaxed. Even before doing this, I was relaxed, to be honest.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, thank you. But I had to do that jump to say, okay, let's do this, let's accept that. And also, I left these videos so everybody can see them and laugh about them. Also me, maybe I'll make some reaction review in some years, and it will be funny. So another thing, where can we find you? So which socials do you use? Basically, where can we find you? So we can put the links in the description. Please follow her everywhere, in every socials.
Yes, mostly on Twitter. You can always just find me on Twitter on Randall Kanna. And that's kind of where I spend all my time. Also, my website has links if you want to email me directly. And I also can be found on the Gumroad Circle, which was just made public.
Okay, perfect. We'll put the link in the description. Yeah, we now we just need a title for this video. I'll think about that. Yeah, usually I watch the video again, and of course, and I also a fan of my own series. Yeah, sometimes I watch them again, even 2 times. I also like and comment. So these interviews has been great. A great guest. The interviewer not that good, but yeah, the guest is. I think this is also maybe a secret of this series that I also like them. Yeah, a lot to know, and also I talk about making strong connections with people. I really love that because for example, after making this video, if I read your tweets, finally I can read the tweets with your voice. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do you want to say something to close this? Maybe to some new developers, because I think that we have talked about some important topics. Now we are laughing, but we are talking about some real problems of that we all have this. So, what can we say to people that maybe they feel they have this feeling of the imposter syndrome? They don't feel that they are doing the right things. And I usually I joke about that the imposter syndrome is like that you have the fear that you will have some people that will pat on your shoulder and say you are done, we found you, we got you. Yeah, I joke about that, but what can we say to them now if maybe they have these kind of feelings? Yeah,
Yeah,
what can you say
I
to
have the
them?
same feelings. I have the same tap on the shoulder feeling. I would say, hang in there. We're all kind of in the same space, and everyone has that imposter syndrome. I've been an engineer for 5 years. I've written an O'Reilly book. I've, self-published books. I've worked as an iOS engineer, blockchain engineer, front end, back end, full stack, and I still have imposter syndrome. And it's something that I think if you just accept it, and one thing that I read online once that really impacted me was that real imposters don't have imposter syndrome. So if you have imposter syndrome, it means you are pushing yourself and you are learning. So it's a good thing, and it feels really scary, but it means, you are actively pushing yourself to be better.
Yeah, thank you. I think that understanding that there is a problem is already a step, because sometimes I had this kind of messages like I don't feel comfortable in my job, or what can I do? And I usually say, if you have this problem and if you already are talking to me, you are sending a message to me, you are already a step forward. You have already done the hardest step, which is acceptance, basically. I think in my opinion.
So true.
Yeah. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I'll try. I can promise you that this video will be released on time, but I'll try. Let's see. We in the comments we'll see. Oh, you released another day. I don't know, or maybe I'll not publish. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah. So thank you for being here. Yeah. So thank you for anything. Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Wait. Wait a second.